Hey guys, Drifter here. I've been feeling a lot better lately, and I've had a lot more energy to go out and do more things. And I've been putting some of that extra energy into playing Warzone more regularly, because the original Warzone, Call of Duty Verdansk, in 2020 was one of my favorite Call of Duty experiences of the last decade. It was, for me at least, a lot more interesting than regular multiplayer, so I was really excited to kind of try to get back into the swing of things, to kind of pick up where I left off, hop right back in, and have a good time with Verdansk. But Verdansk just isn't quite the same as it used to be. Much in the way that you can't put the genie back in the bottle or close Pandora's box, the community can't unlearn the modern aggressive tactics that streamers like myself have employed for a very long time. The map and gameplay may be mostly the same, but the players have evolved. I noticed in my games that almost everyone is playing much more aggressively than they used to. There's a lot of trophy system on vehicle pushes, helicopter uses, UAVs going off all the time. Everybody's fighting over contracts and trying to finish them quickly to get their loadouts. Teams are very fast about finishing their downs, and the mode feels very sweaty. And I thought it was just time at play here, and it is to some extent because I've been out of it for a bit. But I actually think that Warzone Casual mode made this problem much worse. So today we're going to talk all about Warzone's casual problem. But before we get into that, I wanted to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, Logitech G. The A50X is by far the best console headset on the market because you can run multiple consoles and your PC through it. If you're interested in it, there's links down there below. And let's head back to the regular video. So in case you're unfamiliar, Warzone Casual mode is a new mode that was added for the return of Verdansk. It's a regular Battle Royale experience, but with 120 fairly easy bots on the map and only 28 real players. You get access to the full map, full loadouts, full everything that normal mode has. It's just that the competition is significantly easier until the final few circles when it's mostly people then. Initially, it seemed like this was a good idea. The casual mode lets players have a place to experiment and learn the ropes of the game. It's also a great mode to go to test out loadouts in a live environment if the firing range just isn't doing it for you. It's fun for people to play that are just super casual and don't have an interest in getting much better. And this is the mode for dads that have full-time jobs. Warzone Casuals is for grad students who just don't have time to keep up with the meta but still want to get some games in. And there's a lot to like about this mode, which is why I initially praised it upon launch, but I did not foresee the impact that casual mode would have on regular Warzone. The main problem here is that the mode ultimately segmented the player base by skill level. Now 100% of the casual players only play casual mode, which means the more competitive players and the ranked grinders are the only ones left in normals right now. Ranked helps segment that too, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later in the video, but for now we're just focusing on normal unranked Verdansk experience. The only players left in normals are going to be significantly more competitive than they were in the past, and honestly even more competitive than they were in the immediate past in the last iteration of Warzone before Verdansk came out. The end result is that normal Warzone just got noticeably more competitive. So to me, normals feels a lot like hard mode. That means if I want to have a casual experience, I have to do so in casual mode and mostly fight bots. I can't have a normal or casual experience without the bots. I can't have that experience with real people anymore. And this is a sticky point for me personally because I do not enjoy killing bots at all. We talked about this in the Marathon video and in the Arc Raiders video, in my old Destiny video, and even if you want to go all the way back in time to my original Titanfall 1 review, I was very adamant that the game would be better off without the AI bots on the ground, but Microsoft just had a huge fixation with their cloud servers and letting the AI be run by cloud, but whatever, anyway. Titanfall 1 was the game where they first normalized having AI players on the battlefield, and my opinion about not liking that hasn't changed very much since then. At the end of the day, I get absolutely zero satisfaction out of killing the AI. It just doesn't do it for me. And I don't even know what's wrong with me because everybody else seems to enjoy this. Everybody else seems very content to load into a game and kill bots that don't really fight back. I just don't think that's the kind of power fantasy that I was looking for in a Call of Duty game. On this topic, I also struggle with a significant number of single-player games because they don't feel adequately challenging. And by that, I don't mean unreasonable scenarios where the enemy's health scales way up and your damage scales way down, or where you have to use the fire type Pokemon on the grass type, or when they throw an unreasonable amount of enemies, like hundreds or thousands of enemies my way for me to slaughter, or a boss that's like a titan with all these superpowers or whatever. For whatever reason, I don't like that. I might have liked that when I was a kid. There's nothing wrong with single player games. They can be fun sometimes. But the moment I got online and started interacting with real people, the satisfaction of killing bots just completely disappeared. I only had interest in hunting humans. I like to hunt down human enemy opponents of varying skill levels and intelligences that are doing their best job to try to stay alive. For some reason, interacting with other people and hunting real people is always more fun for me, even if I'm not particularly good at it. And I gotta be real, I'm not particularly good at games anymore, but I would rather lose 10 times in a row and then finally kill a real person than I would kill 10 bots and then kill one person, or die to a person even. Like, killing the bots is less satisfying for me than just dying a bunch of times to real people. And I'm in a real pickle here because I'm clearly not good enough for normal mode anymore now that the casuals have been pulled out of it. It's almost like the community is doing skill-based matchmaking, but on a voluntary basis. Or maybe it's a more community-friendly skill-based matchmaking problem, because all of the normal and lower skilled players are now in casual mode, which I personally, as we discussed, don't find to be very fun. All of the players on the higher end of the skill level of normal and up to all the way to being very competitive, are in regular mode practicing for ranked, or they're already in ranked, just hyper sweating and grinding and doing their thing. So to compare to skill-based matchmaking, the community often complains that they don't like the algorithm because it removes the variety in their games, the variety in their enemies. They don't want to get stuck playing only in that bracket over and over again until the end of time, because with the implementation of skill matching, gone were the days of some lobbies being easy and some being hard and some just being kind of normal. They're whatever the game thinks your normal should be all the time. And I think that a good analogy can be made to Battle Royale games, because out of 150 players, you should have a mix of different skill levels. Ideally, you should have about a third of them be casual or below average in skill, bumbling around the map, learning the ropes, stuff like that. Another third of them should be normal, such that that's your average expectation for an engagement. And the last chunk of people are inevitably going to be more competitive, so you have a chance to roll up on some demons. What this means for me as a player is that in any given match, I'm likely to be able to take down a casual team, coin toss on the normal team as my skills are challenged, and then near the end, if I live that long, I get the opportunity to face down some demons that are more powerful than me and see if I've learned anything, push myself a little bit. It's really fun. Since Verdansk is Battle Royale, some of that's inevitably going to be random. Sometimes you'll just land on a really sweaty squad and get annihilated. Other times, you're the sweaty squad that landed on a player that's more casual than yourself, and the cycle kind of goes and goes around, but it does average out over many games to a more fun experience. What's kind of happening right now is that the experience is only fighting competitive players, like only really competitive players are still left in Verdansk. I also briefly wanted to talk about how this game has evolved, and very importantly, how it's lost its survival magic. In my humble opinion, Battle Royale games should reward the last person alive and not the one who has the most kills. Because the magic of these games isn't having a big map and lots of people to hunt down for a high score. The Battle Royale magic always worked best with a mix of hunting and survival. The survival element of the game is a little bit more like survival horror. As a lower skilled player, you're constantly avoiding the better players so they don't wipe you. You're being conservative with your resources because you're not going to be able to harvest a lot, sneaking everywhere, hoarding medicines, and just trying to rat your way into the final circle. But it's a really emotionally intense and difficult kind of process. And that's one of the things that made early PUBG so amazing early on. It was all sorts of gamers coming together of varying skill levels and experiences, and they're all trying these bizarre tactics. It was wild, wacky, unpredictable, and even casual gamers did have some degree of fun trying to survive. But as the streamers started landing at school over and over again and putting themselves through what is essentially a PUBG combat-oriented boot camp, the game suddenly lost its even playing field, and it lost its emphasis on survival and swapped over to who can get the most kills, and then PUBG got a lot more fun for me. This isn't unique to PUBG. Call of Duty Verdansk went through a very similar cycle, and then it was very new. And, you know, these fond memories that I talk about when I'm playing it are with those casual players that were bumbling around a lot more. And typically, the older a Battle Royale game is, the more solved it is as a game and more oriented toward high kill games. That's a topic that's complex enough that I'm probably going to need to talk about it at a different time in a different video. But the older the Battle Royale game gets, it does tend to get more aggressive. So the main problem here is that the variety has been robbed from me and likely from many of you as well, but I do want to add some caveats to this criticism in order to maintain fairness. First, I'm so old, I literally remember seeing Reagan on TV and grew up with rotary phones. I'm also very out of practice because due to my disabilities, I can't grind Warzone for 4 hours a day like I used to. And then third, everybody else has had several years of practice and the meta has evolved to just be more aggressive. So coming back to Warzone does present a mismatch for me in that I'm much worse than I used to be. But on the flip side, my competition is also much better than they used to be. And unfortunately, I don't feel that I have the opportunity to practice or get better because I can play normals or ranked and mostly get smashed. I guess that is a sort of school of hard knocks, jump into the pit and figure it out, which I could do if I had time for it, which would be lovely. And there's some people in casual mode as well that are a bit more difficult to take down, but I don't find the casual mode experience to be that overall satisfying. It really should be satisfying. It should be perfect for a boomer gamer like myself who needs a bit more of a casual experience, but I'm mentally cursed in that killing bots just puts me to sleep. So what do? Well, I don't have a clear answer for this conundrum, but I did just want to point out that Warzone basically has voluntary skill-based matchmaking now. Normals is an entirely reasonable mode for people to use to practice their skills and warm up for ranked. Ranked is where all the sweat should be, and begrudgingly, I admit that the casual mode is still probably a good thing and a net positive for the game. At the end of the day, the gripe is somewhat more unique to me because of my issue with bots. I think a lot of the truly casual players just don't care, and they get a lot of benefit out of the mode. So I'm not sure what to say about this other than I guess I'm just going to have to get good. Get better, get more used to whatever sweaty environment is left in this game, because that's all there is. Alright guys, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.